Welcome back. Today I'm going to explain the movie called Sweet Tooth from 2021. Spoilers ahead, watch out and take care, and I hope you enjoy it. At the beginning of the movie, we saw a doctor, and he was leading a pretty normal life. But in a few days, a dangerous virus spread all around the city. But no one had any idea about why this virus was spreading at such a high rate. As an effect of this virus, all the children who had been born in this period were hybrid. Hybrid means half of their body was human and the other half was animal. We saw that the doctor's wife was also infected with this virus. That's why he took his wife to the hospital, but he saw that the whole city was infected. The doctor was so worried about it. He couldn't understand what he should do now. After that, a guy went to the forest with his son. He was a sweeper, and his son was also a hybrid. He named his son Gus. The sweeper was afraid that if his son gets into the last man's hands, they will kill him. Last Men was actually a group of the army. They kill the hybrid babies or take them with them for research purposes. The sweeper raised his son in the forest as he grew up. Along with that, he never let his son go out of this forest, and that's why Gus did not know the outer world. Then one day, a man came inside the forest, and he went near Gus's house. Somehow, Gus's father scared him away, but the guy marked the place. Gus's father realized that maybe they found out about Gus. That's why he locked Gus in the basement and he left the house. It's been so long, but still, Gus's father didn't come back. Suddenly, Gus heard the scream of his father. When he went outside, he saw that his father was in front of him. But suddenly, his father fell down on the ground. Somehow, Gus took him inside the house, but he noticed that his dad's finger was vibrating, which means his father was also infected with the virus. As a result of this infection, the next day, his father died. Gus was totally alone after the death of his father, but he knew how to live alone. One day, Gus found a map and he went to a tree by following the map. The tree had a heart mark on it. That's why Gus dug the land beside the tree, and he found a box under the ground. There was a picture of a lady inside the box. She was a scientist. Gus thought that maybe she was his mother. There was a name of a place in the photo. Along with that, he found a pamphlet with the name of a place on it. In this place, they hide the hybrid babies from the outside world. But actually, this was a trap of the Last Men. They set this trap to catch the hybrid babies. One day, Gus set a big fire in the forest, and the smoke spread all around the forest. As a result, the Last Men found Gus, and they were about to kill him. But luckily, a guy named Tommy came there, and he killed all of them to save Gus. After that, Gus ran to his house, and Tommy also came after him. They talked to each other, and Gus said that he wanted to find his mom. But Tommy told him not to go outside, because the Last Men would surely kill him if he went out there. Since Gus was so determined to find his mom, he went after Tommy. But Tommy told him not to go after him. Gus said, "I will keep chasing you until you take me to my mom." The scene shifted here and went towards a female officer. Since the infection was widely spread, she was stuck inside her office. She stayed inside her office for some days. But when she came outside the office, she saw that the whole city was changed. After that, she went to a zoo and started to live inside the zoo. Time went by and she started to live a normal life. But one day she found a hybrid baby outside of her house. The name of this baby was Wendy. The female officer then adopted the baby. On the other side, Gus and Tommy spent the night in the forest. In the morning, Tommy saw that Gus had eaten all of the medicine in the food. Tommy was so mad at him about this. But Gus smelled the smell of food from far away. So they followed the smell and went to a house. There were 3 people inside the house. A mechanic guy, his son, and his wife stayed inside the house. Gus and Tommy ate so much food in their house, and after that, Gus told them that I'm here to look for my mom, and Tommy is helping me to find my mother. After that, Gus went to play with the mechanic's son. Tommy told the mechanic that I will just stay here for this night. Next morning, I will leave. Gus was having so much fun. But suddenly, the mechanic's wife noticed a scar on Tommy's chest. This was actually the scar of the Last Men. She asked him about the scar, and Tommy said, "I used to be a member of the Last Men, but now I'm not anymore." Tommy told the lady to keep Gus with her. It will be better for him. But the lady said, "I need to talk to my husband about it." After that, when Tommy was about to leave, Gus saw him, and at that moment, the members of the Last Men arrived. They warned the family that now you only have 2 ways. Either hand over the hybrid kid to us, or else we will kill you all. But when the Last Man was about to kill Gus, Tommy killed the man. The mechanic said to Tommy that I can't risk my family's life by keeping Gus with us. That's why Tommy and Gus had to leave. In the next scene, we saw that the doctor injected a vaccine into his wife's body to keep the infection under control. The infection that infected the doctor's wife was different from the normal infection because it was not able to spread. Suddenly, the doctor noticed that he was running out of vaccines. That's why he went to the lady doctor to get more vaccines. The lady doctor gave him a book, and in that book she had recorded all the medicine that she had given to the doctor's wife. The lady doctor was in the last stage of her cancer. She won't live for long. Thus, she will not be able to make any more vaccines for his wife. The lady doctor told him that from now on, you'll have to make it yourself. The doctor came back home and told his wife that I'll have to make all the medicine and vaccines by myself from now on. But there was a step written in the book that he could not do to make the medicine. Actually, he needed the organs of hybrid kids to produce the medicine. For this, the doctor would need to kill the hybrid babies. But the doctor didn't want to do it. He tried so hard to do it, but he failed. One day, the doctor and his wife were about to go to a party. The doctor told his wife not to go, but his wife didn't listen to him, and they went to the party anyway. They went to a narrator's house to join the party. We noticed that the narrator's finger was vibrating, which means he was infected as well. That's why they tied him up and lit the house on fire. But the narrator's wife had a doubt that the doctor's wife was also infected. In the next scene, Gus and Tommy went inside an old school bus. They decided to spend the night there. Gus told him that tomorrow we'll sit on a train, and the train will take us to your mom. And the next day, Tommy changed the outlook of Gus so that the last men wouldn't recognize him. After that, Tommy and Gus went to the station. Tommy told Gus to sit on the bench, and he went to take tickets. But Gus went somewhere, and he was lost. Suddenly, he met a girl named Bear. She took Gus with her, but Tommy also came there. When they were about to get onto the train, Gus smelled the smell of medicine. When they went to steal the medicine, a guard came there. The guard found out that Gus was a hybrid kid. But Tommy hit the guard, and they tried to run away. But still, the guards got them. They were taking Tommy and Gus to somewhere in the forest. But then, an animal army came there and saved them. Actually, Animal Army was a team of kids. Bear was their leader. She was the girl whom we saw a bit earlier. Bear and some of her friends built this army, and they worked to protect the hybrid kids. They believed that humans had ruined this world, and now hybrid kids will repair it. That's why they protect the hybrid kids and include them in their team. They were about to kill Tommy because they thought that Tommy was a member of the last men. But Gus stopped them. Bear found it very strange why Gus was saving Tommy. Bear told Gus that this world was collapsing before the hybrid babies came into this world. Humans had ruined it. But since hybrid babies like us came to this world, we're trying our best to fix the Earth. And this is the reason why we saved the hybrid. Gus told Bear that actually I'm looking for my mom, and Tommy is helping me. Bear told him that if he wants, then I will help you find your mom, but you need to keep it a secret. Bear also told him that Tommy is one of the last men, and he had killed so many babies like you. After that, the narrator's wife came to the doctor's house, and she found out that the doctor's wife was infected. That's why she was going to tell everyone about it. The doctor tried to stop her, but his horse kicked the lady. As a result, the lady died. The doctor and his wife hid the dead body in their freezer. In the next scene, we saw the female officer and her daughter, Wendy. Wendy was the hybrid baby whom she found outside her house. Suddenly, she heard a noise and went to check. They found another hybrid baby, and he was Wendy's friend. The female officer kept him to herself as well. The female officer was working to protect all the hybrid babies, but she contacts everyone through the radio, so that no one would be able to track down her location. She was so scared about the fact that what if the last man finds her location? On the other side, the animal army was about to kill Tommy, but Bear changed her decision, and she ordered them to free him. But Bear's friend didn't want to release Tommy. That's why they started to fight with each other. With this chance, Gus freed up Tommy, and both of them ran away from there. And then suddenly, Bear left her team. In the next scene, the general of the last men went to meet the lady doctor, and he asked her about the book. The lady doctor said that I gave it to the doctor. Before leaving, the general killed the lady doctor. Tommy said to Gus that I will take you to your mother for sure. On their way, they met Bear, and she gave Gus the address of his mother. After that, they went towards the train station. But before that, they had to cross a valley, where they had buried the hybrid babies. Suddenly, the doctor realized that the police came to his house to look for the narrator's wife. The doctor was so worried about it, but his wife told him that we have no fault in her death. After that, he received a call from the clinic. There was a delivery for him. When they opened the box, they found a note. On that note, it was written that out of hybrids. Meanwhile, the doctor's wife noticed that the freezer was leaking. When they checked the freezer, they saw that the door was already opened, which means someone else had already seen the dead body. That's why the doctor and his wife were trying to run away from there. But suddenly, some people came there, and the doctor lied to them. He said that the narrator's wife was infected. Then the doctor's wife's finger started to vibrate. Everyone realized that his wife was also infected. That's why they tied them up. The doctor tried to convince them that her infection was not viral, but they didn't believe him. They tied them up and set the lab on fire, but the general came there and saved them. Along with that, he found the book. The doctor's wife told him that if you want treatment, then you must untie us. The doctor told him that the lady doctor had some lacking in her research, but I've corrected those mistakes. And I've found a way to make vaccines for this virus. And I will only tell you how to make the vaccine if you free us from here. Actually, both of them lied to the general. On the other side, Wendy's friend found a ribbon. The female officer realized that the last men had spotted them. When she went to check, she saw that there were so many ribbons tied to the fence, which means the last men had marked their place. Wendy told her mom that now we should leave this place. Then we saw Bear, Gus, and Tommy. They had to cross a bridge to get to the other side. But Tommy and Bear started to argue with each other. Gus went to cross the bridge on his own, but the bridge broke, and Gus was hanging from a rope. Tommy tried his best to save Gus, but he fell down. But surprisingly, nothing happened to him. Bear and Tommy took him out of the valley, and they reached the train station at last. Somehow they got on the train, and they found some stuff from the last men. This means maybe there were some last men on the train. Gus couldn't find the toy that his dad gave him. But suddenly they heard footsteps, and they immediately hid. But the man found Gus. Therefore the men and Tommy started fighting. The man was none other than Tommy's friend. He was Tommy's football team member. His friend then told Gus's mom's location. Bear told them that there was some last men on the train. That's why they tried to hide. But the last men found them. Tommy's friend told them to run away. He will try to hold the last men. So Tommy, Gus, and Bear ran away from there, and Tommy's friend tried to hold the last men. After that, Tommy, Gus, and Bear jumped off the train, and finally they reached their destination. On the other side, the female officer told all the kids to go through the tunnel, and this tunnel will take them to a church. The female officer told her daughter, Wendy, to wait for her at the church. In the next scene, we saw that the doctor and his wife were separated for quarantining. The general told the doctor that I will give you whatever you want. I just want the medicine to end this virus. Gus finally went to his mom's house, but he couldn't find his mom there. Instead, he found his mom's friend. His mom's friend told him that his mom has been looking for him for years, and she never came back here. The lady gave him a key to the storeroom. They went to the storeroom, and Bear found a file. Bear showed the file to Tommy. When Gus saw the file, he noticed that his name was written on it, which means Genetic Unit Series 1, and they realized that the scientist was not Gus's mom. Actually, Gus was made in a lab, and it was the same lab from where the virus had spread. Gus couldn't tolerate the fact that he was made in a lab, and that's why he ran away from there. After that, we saw a scene from the flashback, and we saw that Gus's father worked as a sweeper in a lab, and the scientist was also in that lab. One day, the sweeper and the scientist met each other, and they talked. They became friends, and the scientist told the sweeper that I'm working on a project. Basically, I'm looking for a microbe that no one knows about, but now I've found the microbe in the city. We'll test it on the egg, and then we'll make the vaccine from the microbe. This will help the people save their lives. And if we make any mistake, then it will be dangerous for the civilization. Billions of people could lose their lives. After that, the scientist received a call from her friend. She told her that the army had taken charge of the lab, and they're taking away everything from the lab. She also told her that I've hidden your project from everyone. After that, the sweeper and the scientist went to the lab, and the scientist showed her project to the sweeper. Actually, they were successful in making Gus from the microbe. The scientist gave Gus to the sweeper because if the army gets to know about Gus, they will kill him or research him. The scientist told him to immediately leave with Gus. It was obvious that the sweeper was not Gus's father. The movie came back to the present scene, and we saw that Gus went to a broken plane. The radio was on, and Gus used it to send a message to the general. The general was outside the female officer's house, and he told her to hand over the hybrid kids, but the officer refused to do it. She tried to stop them, but failed. On the other side, Wendy went to the church with everyone. Wendy told everyone to stay inside the tunnel, but Wendy's friend came out, and she went to save him. But the last men came there and got them. When the female officer came there, she saw that the last men had taken all the hybrid kids. Bear found a phone, and she tried to fix it, and she was successful. Meanwhile, the friend of the scientist came there. Bear began to tell her about herself. She said that my real name is not Bear. She said that I was adopted, but my parents died because of the virus. I had a sister, and she was a hybrid, but the last men took her. In the next scene, Tommy found Gus. He told him that I had a son like you. One day, Tommy was going to the hospital with his pregnant wife, and his wife gave birth to his son. When Tommy went to see his son, he saw that he was also a hybrid. Tommy had no idea about what to do. He panicked and ran away from there. When he came back, he saw that his wife and his son were missing. And from then on, Tommy never found his wife or son. Gus told Tommy that I've called the general to come here. Suddenly, Gus heard a gunshot, and we saw that Tommy fell down on the ground. But the last men took Gus with them. They took Gus to the doctor, and the doctor realized that Gus was able to speak. The doctor told his assistant to bring another hybrid kid in exchange for Gus. We saw that someone picked up Tommy, and when he woke up, he saw that the officer was sitting in front of him. He asked Tommy to help her to save the kids. Gus met the other kids like him. Bear tried to call someone with the phone, and luckily, the scientist picked up the call. She was still alive, and she was in Alaska. She was trying to find the cure for this virus. To watch more explanations of these kinds of movies, click on the videos on your screen. And don't forget to let me know how you feel about today's video in the comments down below. And at last, I will say, stay safe, stay well, thanks.